Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the South Carolina Disaster Corps podcast, the exclusive podcast that is dedicated to the education of South Carolinians in a variety of topics within emergency preparedness, and the only one that strives to apply that knowledge to increase community awareness, resilience, and service. I am your host, Sawyer Ruiz, and welcome to Weekly Shoutout number 3. The Weekly Shoutouts is South Carolina Disaster Corps podcast method of completing its goal of spreading community awareness, resilience, and service. Our hope is that our listeners will either become involved in one of the wonderful organizations that we shout out, or if they are looking for assistance, that they find the help they are looking for. So this week we have 2 community events to shout out. The first event is the Candy Crawl, which is being hosted at the Anderson Mall by US LED in partnership with Street Motion. The Candy Crawl is a trunk-or-treat event that is Friday, October 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Anderson Mall main parking lot. There will be candy, food trucks, a costume contest, and more, so come on by for an enjoyable time. For those who need directions, the Anderson Mall main entrance is located at 3131 North Main Street, Anderson, South Carolina 29621. You can find more information about the Candy Crawl at shopanderson.com under their events section. Additionally, you can follow Anderson Mall to keep up to date with their events on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Shop Anderson. Our next event for the shoutout is the community-wide Thanksgiving distribution. This event is being hosted by AIM, who we shouted out in the first weekly shoutout, and is in partnership with us at the United Way of Anderson County. This event is Monday, November 23rd from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Anderson Civic Center. The address for the Civic Center is 3027 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Anderson, South Carolina 29625. You do not have to be an AIM client to attend, but you must have a valid ID and a proof of address dated October 1st or later. For those who are unsure what to bring for proof of address, it can include things like utility bills, bank or credit card statements, social security statements, and or an Anderson County property tax bill. This event is first come, first serve, so they're handing out packages of stuff, of food basically, and it's limited to 1 package per household, and if you miss out on those, unfortunately that's all they have. If you have any questions, you can call 864-965-9083 to find out that information. If any of you listeners are event organizers who want to have your event shouted out on the podcast, you can contact us via email at scdisastercorps@gmail.com. And of course, we are open to any sort of suggestions through that email as well. Also, we hope that all of you have a very happy Halloween today. For this week, the local organization that we'll be looking at is the LOT Project. The LOT Project's mission is to transform Anderson into a stronger, safer, life-giving community where everyone feels valuable and loved. The LOT Project provides individuals with food and clothing on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. For anyone who's looking for clothing or food, you can go to the LOT Project, which is located on 302 West Market Street, Anderson, South Carolina 29624. Additionally, the LOT Project runs other community service projects like the Artisan's Garden, which transforms abandoned lots into green spaces, community gathering places, and raised bed organic vegetable gardens. You can visit thelotproject.com to find out more information about how to volunteer and the various services that they offer. You can also call the LOT Project at 864-760-3710 or email them at info@lotproject.com. Additionally, you can follow their social media platforms, Facebook at The LOT Project Anderson, or Instagram and Twitter at The LOT Project. Okay, so for our online organization this week, we're going to be looking at careervillage.org. CareerVillage.org's mission is to democratize access to career information and advice for underrepresented youth. Essentially, CareerVillage.org and its volunteers are giving advice about various career paths to youth interested in those pursuits. Currently, there are 65,000 volunteers giving advice on their website to around 4 million individuals in 190 countries. CareerVillage.org has answered questions for and mentored in over 8,000 different career topics, with 98% of all questions being successfully answered. If you're a professional or educator that wants to get involved and help CareerVillage.org reach more students with advice and knowledge regarding a number of fields, you can visit careervillage.org/join/for-professionals or careervillage.org/join/for-teachers. If you're a student who is seeking advice or information about a career field, you can visit careervillage.org/join/for-students. To stay up to date with CareerVillage.org, you can follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at CareerVillage. For any listeners who want to get inspired to serve by these weekly shoutouts, let us know on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at SC Disaster Corps. For those listening on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. For wonderful listeners on our various podcast hosts as well as anyone who has lengthy questions, you can email us at scdisastercorps.com. Listeners are able to find both our full podcast episodes and the weekly shoutouts on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, Breaker, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Overcast, and the SC Disaster Corps YouTube channel. Also, we have some exciting news that we are finally on Apple Podcasts, so let's spread the word and let people know that they can now listen to us on there as well. For those listening on one of our podcast hosting sites, you can hit the follow button to stay up to date with the podcast. For anyone on YouTube, you can hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and then hit the bell notification button. And if you want to learn more about SC Disaster Corps, AmeriCorps, or United Way, feel free to visit unitedwayofanderson.org. Additionally, next week's episode is going to be with our supervisor here at SC Disaster Corps, Brandy Singleton, and it's titled, What is AmeriCorps? So you guys will learn a bit more about AmeriCorps in that episode. Thank you for being with us today and for listening. We hope to see you again next time, and always remember to stay prepared.